For the last 2 years, my wife and I and our 7 youngest children have been in Lusaka, Zambia, the capital of Zambia, serving there at the African Christian University. Now, African Christian University is a ministry of the Reformed Baptists of Zambia. And back in 2006, a friend of mine, Paul Washer, he told me, I guess it was in 2005, he said, "There's a guy in Zambia that you just need to know. I mean, he's your brother from another mother. You need to know him." And he was telling Conrad and Mbewe the same thing in Zambia. And so Conrad graciously extended an invitation for me to come over and preach at this annual conference that they were doing there. Now, this annual conference was something that they had been doing for several years then. But the reason they did this annual conference is because for almost 20 years, they have been planting churches throughout Zambia. And this was a time when a lot of those guys sort of came back and got together every year. And, you know, between the pastors and church planters and, you know, members of churches who came to the conference, there were over 600 people at the conference in 2006. Last year, there were over 1,600 at the conference. So this is a 30-year-old, completely indigenous, confessional 1689 Reformed Baptist church planting movement. And they are starting a university. And after I came back for the first time in 2006, this university wasn't even, you know, in the works then. And I went and had an amazing experience there. It was awesome to be there and to find myself fitting so well in the work there and actually needed there. It's interesting, you know, 95% of all theology books, Christian books, are published in English in America. And most Christians in America can't think of one Christian author or theologian whose books they feel like they need to read, who's not an American. This is the center of the Christian universe. And the most influential churches in the world are here. The most influential and listened to pastors in the world are here. I'm not needed here. And so I went, and it was an amazing trip. I came back, this is in '06. My wife asked me, you know, how was it? My oldest son and I had gone for 2 weeks. And I looked at her in 2006 and I said, "I think I want to be buried there." And she said, "Uh-oh." And she went with me, I think, in 2010 with a couple of the kids. And then in 2014, we went back and we took the 7 youngest children. And then we took also my then future son-in-law with us as well. And it was in the middle of that trip that she walked up to me and she said, "I see it." And she said, "You fit here. You're needed here. It's like everything that the Lord has done in your life has suited you to be here, to be a part of this. So let's do it." That was August 2014. August 2015, we moved. So in August, it'll be 2 years that we've been there. The university started, we're in our 2nd year now. We have a gap year program for students right now. We're offering degrees in agriculture, business, education, and theology. I went to start the seminary, to start the graduate program, but right now it's all hands on deck with the university, and it's more than we can say grace over, and the fruit has been amazing. The challenges have been overwhelming at times. You know, it's like that old saying, some days we're the windshield, some days we're the bug, right? It's the type, we said 3 to 5 years, and you know, we could be back soon, but you know, to be honest with you, this is the type of thing I often think about. You know, if the Lord gives me another 40 years, I would have no qualms with 40 years from now sitting down and looking at the fruit of what we've done at African Christian University and having that as my life's work. No qualms whatsoever. And then, on another note, since you guys have asked me to talk about this, we're facing a challenge right now. Personally, I'm facing a challenge right now. And this is another one of the reasons that I'm feeling like I'm feeling. But a few weeks ago, I try to make this as short as possible. Just a few weeks ago, I was ill. I had throat infection, like a strep or something like that, and went in to the doctors, and they were giving me these IV antibiotics, and I had this terrible allergic reaction after 3 days or 2 days of that, and I thought it was the IV antibiotics, and the reaction was somewhere between Hitch and the Nutty Professor. Yeah. And but anyway, long story short, I've had chronic kidney disease for about 15 years. I was diagnosed in my early 30s. I had hypertension and didn't understand where it was coming from. Found out that my kidneys were functioning at less than 50%. They put me on an ACE inhibitor for my blood pressure and also to protect my kidneys, and they sent me to the kidney specialist, and we started having really difficult discussions about things like dialysis and transplant and all that sort of stuff. But the medication that I was on corrected my blood pressure issue, my kidney issue reversed, and so for 15 years, it's been wonderful. And it wasn't supposed to work like that, but it did. But the reaction that I had a few weeks ago was to the medicine that's been protecting my kidneys for 15 years. And so I can't take it anymore or anything in its class. And, there's some new drugs that we're trying to control my blood pressure and to protect my kidneys. And if, you take a scale of 1 to 5, and if 5 is being on a transplant list, if I stay around a 2 or a 3, we're fine where we are. In fact, even better where we are, because, treatment is more affordable and medicine is more affordable and things like that. But if I get to a 4 or 5, we have to leave. So pray for us, because I don't want to leave. So pray for us. It's just not time yet. It's not like this. So I'm headed from here to Houston, and I'm going to go see my doctor and some other folks over the next day and a half, so that we can do whatever we do to have to rub some dirt on it and keep going.